All right, we were talking about negative exponents here in section 7.4, and now we're going to talk about the second one with the 1/2 to the negative third power. And so again, we can look at this in two ways. We can, first of all, take a look at the negative and say, let's take the reciprocal of the base. So the base is 1/2, so its reciprocal is 2. And then we could say cube that, which means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And we're done. Or the other way that we can look at this is we can also say, okay, we're going to do 1/2 and we're going to cube that. And then after we're done with that, we'll take the reciprocal of it. And so 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. And then once we have that, then we'll take the reciprocal. And so we're going to get a 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, and 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And that's now the reciprocal, which gives us an 8. Now, what you see here is that we got the same answer, just like I explained before, but it sure was a heck of a lot easier to take the reciprocal first and then cube it with this fractional base. Just like over here, when we had the whole number base, it was a lot easier to square it and then take the reciprocal after it, because if I'm doing this all in my head, I don't have to keep track of fractions that way. So it's really good to know that you can do this either way and it works, right? That you can take the power and then take the reciprocal, or take the reciprocal and then take it to the power. It's a very cool thing to know. All right, now here are some examples that are going to show us exactly what we ran up against with our couple of unsimplified answers earlier. So we have a quotient rule here, just like we did before. So we're going to do numerator minus denominator exponent. So we're going to copy that like base A, and 8 minus 10, which is a negative 2. And now we have that negative exponent. Well, now we know what to do with that. A negative exponent means take the reciprocal of it and raise it to that power, so 1 over a squared. And you see how that's simplified. Now the next one, you see the negative exponents down here in the bottom. What do you do with that? Well, there is a shortcut for this, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but here's the first and only time that I'm going to show you literally what this means. So remember, a fraction bar is actually division. So we have 2 divided by b to the negative 3 power. So this really means 2 times 1 over b cubed. And then that, remember, is a whole number, which goes over 1 times 1 over, oops, not times, sorry. This is still division. That's not going to work. 2 divided by 1 over b cubed, because we need to say take the reciprocal of that. And then we have 2 over 1 times b cubed, because we take the reciprocal of 1 over b, and so that means flip it back over. And so now what we see is 2 times b cubed. Now that's the really long answer for this. Wasn't that kind of painful? Well, here's the shortcut. A negative exponent's not where it belongs. Period, end of sentence. If it's in the denominator, move the base to the power in the numerator and remove the negative exponent. Or if it's in the numerator, move it to the denominator. So shortcut here, negative exponent in the denominator, 2 times b cubed in the numerator. Nothing happens to the 2 though. Be really careful of that. I'll see students move this 2 down to the denominator and the b cubed up to the numerator. The 2 doesn't have a negative exponent, so don't touch it. And this one is the same way, right? With the negative exponent in the numerator, look, you moved it down to the denominator. And when you do move them, you do remove the negative exponent. Okay, now let's go on to our next problem here. We have x to the negative 8 over x to the negative 2. Well, we're going to do this two different ways too. So let's do it the good old-fashioned way. Negative exponent, a negative 8, and then subtract the negative exponent, the denominator. And so now we're going to copy that like base, and this is negative 8 plus 2, which is a negative 6. And then from there we say, oh, the reciprocal of x to the 6th power, so 1 over x to the 6th power. Now what I find is students are not really super good about having integer operations still. This can still be quite painful. And so in the next video I'm going to show you a